rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Living in
That is such a valuable piece of advice there.
These are the sorts of things that we should talk about right in the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
Started giving people free quotes.
In sunshine and rainbows, it is
definitely a thing for just being a solo operator.
The change in mindset makes a massive difference.
Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
Andy, I love obsessing over equipment, and I want to ask you all about your equipment, your tools, and let's look over the life of your business. I'm guessing when you first started in business, you would have been scraping together the basic tools to get started. But a lot of my interviews, we're talking a lot about lawn mowing. Your tools are going to be more focused on gardening.
I don't have a ride on, so that's probably a big difference to majority of your stuff. Guests. Yeah. I am
Interviews.
lucky in the fact that a lot of the big jobs we look after have their own ride-ons. So I've got to use a lot over the years. We run a Honda and 2 Massport push mowers, which the Honda's probably a nicer cut. It's the HRU 196. It's a nice mower. I don't personally like the automatic cutoff on the handle, but it's a nice mower. It's heavy as compared to the Massports. We lift our mowers on and off the ute every day, so that gets to you after a while. The Massports, I can't fault them. Like we've got 4,500, well, what is it? 4,500 President is one, and then it's called a Pro Smart. Yeah, Pro Smart. They're both commercial. They're both commercial grade. Briggs and Stratton motors, but they're so much lighter and so much easier to maneuver. And if you're going up and down stairs or things like that, I actually fell down some stairs a few weeks ago, which was hilarious and painful all at the same time, and dropped the mower on my leg and got a huge hematoma on my knee and broke the chassis of the mower on the new paving of the new job. So that was interesting, and it just happened to be on security camera, so that was good. But I was happy it was the Massport and not the Honda, because it would have crippled me, I think. But
potentially done a lot of damage to the new.
But we're pretty lucky with a few nicer gardens, bigger gardens we look after. The main big one we look after has 2 ride-ons. It's got a Toro wheel horse, which I think is 36 inch. It's just got a steering wheel and stuff. They're pretty old, and then we've actually got a 72 inch Groundmaster as well for that job, a Toro. It's a nice mower, but it's not really the main lawns we use it for are great. It cuts. It's a really nice finish. It's just super heavy, so that's gone into the garage for now. It won't come out until springtime now, and then just too heavy. Just leaves
too heavy.
Ends up because that lawn it's a blend really. It's fescue, rye, and kikuyu. It's such a big area. It's just a blend. So it just leaves not track marks, but if you mow when it's too wet, it sinks because the top layer of soil is so soft on the hills. But it's pretty good. But I find the design it's got a catcher. I know you guys don't really use catchers much, but I guess we don't use it all that often because it cuts so fine that it actually, if you leave the arm on the left-hand side for the catcher, if you open it up, it falls out and you can just sort of mow it up on your way through. But if you do close the catcher, if anything's wet or if you get a little stick stuck in it, the design of the actual tube or funnel back to the catcher gets clogged really quick. So it's a great mower, but it just has a few design flaws, I reckon, in my eye. But
a lot of those catching, or
as
they call it bagging, because it usually goes through to a hopper that's got a bag or
it's
several
got one
bags.
big one, but it doesn't. You don't take out the bag; it just has like an arm release. So we'll just back up to a section on the driveway, drop it, and then we'll pick it up later with the buggy, and we'll take it down to the chickens, and they love it. They thrive in it.
A lot of those systems, even if they've got a blower on the side, they've still got such a long exit chute that it blocks up really easy.
It is a grouse mower, but I think we've got paddocks there as well. Now that they've got sheep, it's much better. It's more manageable between the sheep and the kangaroos. But essentially, they need a tractor for that place, a tractor with a slash on the back or something like that. A little 42-inch would be perfect for that place, but it's just trying to convince the client to get rid of their perfectly fine mower to buy a perfectly fine mower. It's not really necessary. We are lucky.
Maybe they would do well with a robotic mower.
Multiple. I've looked at it a few times for the robot mowers, and it would have to be multiple mowers to get it done. But also, I really like cutting the grass there, so it's one of the few places that I do like. The Groundmaster it's fast, and it turns on a dime, and it's fun. It's fun to drive around in that thing. But we're lucky. So different jobs, different mowers. We've got a Club Cadet in our disposal. We've got a Club Cadet, a Cox, a Husqvarna, a couple of Toros. What are the other little ones? They're called a Time Saver, and geez, they're slow. They're nothing, not even close to a Time Saver. It's so bad, that mower.
That's the budget.
They've got two of them as well. It's so bad. And then one of our jobs is a battery-powered Ryobi, which I don't know if you've ever played Mario Kart, but I feel like Donkey Kong every time I drive that thing. I'm so big in it. I'm 6'2" and 100 kilos, and I just and it's battery powered ride-on. It looks like a go-kart, but they've only got it's a 2-acre block, and it's probably I don't know, maybe an acre. By the time you take out the gun beds, maybe an acre of grass, and it does it easy. It whips over it, but it's you're not rocking up to a job.
It's nice. I was wondering whether it would do it on one
charge. And then over the years, we've used used a couple of Skag mowers and stuff like that. The Cheetah, I think it was called. That was pretty good. But we're pretty lucky in the way that our clients have ride-ons when we need them. But other than that, we just stick to the Honda and Massport push mowers, and then I use all steel gear for my hedge trimmers and whippersnippers.
Battery, or
I've just got
do you use battery, or you get
HSA 100 hedge trimmer battery. It's good. It definitely after 15 years of using petrol, it feels like a toy, but the finish is great. It cuts really nice, and it's quiet. So when you're wearing headphones listening to a podcast, it's it's good. I still wear earmuffs with it, just because it's like more of an irritating noise than a loud noise. But everything else is all still like the BR56, 86 blowers. We've got a couple of backpack blowers, which I think is a 450, and then I think the next one up is it a 500 or something. That's a slightly bigger one. It's not the button start. You still have to pull start them all.
I'm running the 600.
Yeah, we've got the big one, and then I put the 450. I call it the F series, like that. The Simpsons episode where he talks about the F series car. That's the one I got, the littler one. But it's and then we run combi tools for chainsaw attachments and hedge trimming, like pole pruners, and then multiple different whippersnippers or brush cutters. But I run bullhorns. I find them more comfortable. We do a bit of slashing, then I just find with a straight edge or a fine edge, whatever you want to call it, or vertical edge, it's just a lot more control, and especially if you're giving it to someone that's never used a whippersnipper before, I find that they're a lot more comfortable. Especially we run the FS91. It's quite a big motor on it, so it gets heavy if you've never used it before. but yeah, I've had Shindao stuff over the years. I think it was 5, 6, 8 years ago or something. Maybe they were sold out and they've never quite been the same.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
yeah, I've got a Honda whippersnipper as well. I don't know, it's okay. It does the job. I forgot to put one on the ute on the day, and it wasn't worth driving home to get one, so I just bought one, and now it pretty much sits on the shelf in the garage.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff for me, I use a lot of handheld stuff, so a lot of Japanese tools, a lot of Nawaki. I've got to butcher the pronunciation, but Toyama and Yoshioka, like shears. So they're this really soft steel, but
Yeah.
I do a lot of topiary work and shaping and things like that, and it's just the cut you get on a fine leaf blade is just so much nicer. We're not doing box hedges with it, but if it's a topiary, like a Bux's topiary, we'll definitely use shears over a hedge trimmer. Just find it's a much better finish. But yeah.
So can I ask a question about this, right? So you mentioned before that you've just started using the battery hedge trimmer, the
100,
100,
which I think might be one of the newer ones.
Yeah. Now, I've talked to a couple of people about still tools recently, and they've mentioned the HSA 100. So I looked it up. It's got a SPM, which is the cuts per minute, of 3,000. Whereas a lot of the battery hedge trimmers are running over 4,000 SPM, which gives you a faster blade speed, finer cut. So one of the questions I've had, and I've not yet found this, so I thought maybe you might know because you probably still been using petrol hedge trimmers before you switched to the HSA. The old still HS82, is that the right
trimmer,
number?
Yeah, it just depends on the bar length.
I think it's HS82.
Like there's so many varies, and the petrol tank size and stuff like the commercial size. I think there's about 5 different sizes you can go through.
Well, in the 82, they had a T and then they had another model. And if you check the difference between them, the biggest difference was the gap between the teeth. But I think they may have changed the SPM as well, so that the one with the bigger gap in the teeth, slower speed but more torque, and the one with the finer gap in between the teeth, higher speed cut. So that you do the one with the less gap is good for doing your Buxus. The one with the bigger gap is good for doing your bigger leaves or your heavier duty hedge trimming. So that's what I'm getting at. I think with the HSA 100, it's a slightly slower speed than what a lot of people
It
are used to
definitely
working
feels
with
it
battery,
when you use it.
in
We're
the
not
old
super
steel with
converted
petrol.
yet. We trialed a few. We had trialed one with the battery pack on your belt and a few of the others. It's good. We've got a few jobs where the clients' bedrooms are right next to hedges and things like that. It's nice. It's a nice option to be able to start early. It's a good option for the school as well, because we're not allowed to turn hedge trimmers on while classes are on.
Yep.
So just for the sheer noise reduction, it's a good option. All of us so far are not convinced, but I think we're all so used to using two-stroke that's just, fanging next to your head all day long, to then go to just this sort of mild hum. It definitely feels different. Don't get me wrong, on the Buxus hedges that I've used it on, it cuts beautifully, but I wouldn't be using it on anything thicker than about 8 mil, 10 mil. I think it would jam pretty quick.
There's a bunch of battery hedge trimmers that are running up over 4,000 SPM, which means I think if you test the egos, the newest commercial egos specifically, because the older egos that are not commercial quality, they did have a slower SPM, but the newer egos are great. I think the Makita hedge trimmers with the red trigger, because they're the commercial ones, also have over 4,000 SPM. There's a bunch of other ones as well. Husqvarna is one of the original battery powered ones that are up there with the higher 4,000 plus up SPM. So I reckon if you could get a hold of one of those, even as a demo or borrow it off somebody, give it a try, I think you'll find that hits the mark when it comes to battery hedge trimmers and I'm sure still should have something as well. But if the HSA 100 is one of their
they have
more
another one,
commercial
the one
units too.
that's
So
I think it's slightly faster and better, but that's the one that you have to put the battery pack on your belt, so you've got the cord hanging out the back of it, and it's okay. You know, the body's super lightweight, but it does it's if you've done something for 12, 13, 14 years, and then all of a sudden you're like, why is my hip the weight, and it just throws you off, and you're not going up a ladder with that. And I don't know. As I said, we're still just dipping our toes in battery at the moment. It's I had a look at the Ego stuff because I've heard good things. I actually sent them a message on Instagram the other day, and I asked if there was a Melbourne rep that could give me a demo on a few things, and they said that they don't do that, which I thought was odd because Makita and Still and Husqvarna and everyone else is, they'll fall over themselves to bring tools out to you. But Ego's the one I did want to try.
Yeah. Ego, I know I saw this come up recently with somebody else that was asking for a demo, and Ego basically said, no, we've got your 30-day money back guarantee, so you can go grab a tool, buy it, and take it back within 30 days.
Yeah, that's what they said to me.
The equivalent of a
I
demo.
just said, that's time and money. Time is money. I don't want to buy something. They go, this is dodgy. Oh, now I have to take time out of my day to return it. I'd rather just know from the get-go that it was good. That's when I used the Still stuff. By all means, it wasn't mind-blowing, but it was good enough for what I want it for, and for the purpose so far. But we're still very, very open to different brands. It's just I've got all Makita power tools, so I'm happy to look at them too. But it's the Ego was the one that everyone keeps talking about that I thought it'd be good to look into. But no such luck on a trial. So I think they said you'd have to be buying a lot of them for them to come out and give you a trial.
I can tell you the Ego is good. I use it. But you've already got Makita power tools. The 18-volt Makita hedge trimmer has over 4,000 SPM, is not an expensive tool for you to buy, even like if you're not doing a demo, because you've already got batteries. That one, I have not heard anyone
I talked to a few
give
guys
a bad
that
review
got
on
that.
And
is it Craig from Southern Cross, and then another mate, Hayden from Varaya Gardens down this way. I think they both use it or have used it, and they both say it's great. I think it's got the rotating handle as well, which is a good plus. But they all seem to have really long blades, like 70 or 700. I quite like a shorter.
So you want
the
a
Still
shorter
petrol
blade,
has a really short one. I think it might only be 450 or something. And when you're shaping things, it's really handy to do curves. Otherwise, you've just got a lot of blade out in the wind for no reason.
Oh, yeah, makes big differences. It's a lot easier with a short blade to get that shape nice and spot on.
We use the combi tools for hedge trimmers as well, and the Still combi tool. And it's good because you're sort of 3 feet back from the plant or the hedge, so you can see what you're doing if you're going to shape something with that. And then you've got the extension rods.
A lot of the combi tools are a lot of those are combi tool ones. They've got an articulating head on it too, so you can change the direction. It's even though you might be 3 feet back, you can
exactly and they're great with the articulating head. That last little bit at the top of a hedge when you're at the top of your ladder. Like we've got tripod ladders. And they're great. You're really high up and you feel completely safe and stable. But if you're that last little bit at the back of the hedge and you've got 2 extension rods into your combi tool and they're starting to look like there's flex in it and you've just got one little alfalfa bit that's sticking up at the back and you just got to get it. It's good being able to tilt the hedge trimmer so that you can, essentially throw it onto it and just chuck the throttle on and hope for the best.
Yes. Yeah, that's I'm with you on the tripod ladders. They are the safest
game changer for us.
Use.
For the size of it, they're so lightweight, and they're just everybody that sees is like, "What's that, mate? What is that?" And you're like, "It's the best ladder I've ever used." You can get right up in the hedge, especially for doing the tops of a hedge. It's fantastic because you can be hard up against it. R1's got a pin in the third leg so you can put it up and down if you're on a hill or if you're going upstairs, things like that. So it's interchangeable, the height, which just you can always be flat. We've got rubber feet if we're on a paving or something like that, and then you take them off when you're in the grass or soil, so it just digs in. It would be one of the best things we've purchased for the business in the last since we started. You just feel so much safer on it. Like, don't get me wrong, we've still got a bunch of A-frame ladders, but the tripod is by far the best.
Yeah, and I've got one of the Gorilla ladders, which is like a A-frame that's got a platform at the top, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
They are really heavy. They are. They're great when you've got a stable footing for it to use and it's level on the platform, but there's so many situations where it's difficult to get it stable and difficult to get the platform level, and it's even though you're working on a platform, the tripod
it's just got such a wide foot base at the bottom, and you can lean right up against it. It's just, I think the angle of it is just it's so much nicer, especially with ours, that you can change the front leg, the height. You can always be like straight or, leaning forward. And, A-frame ladders, they walk. Yeah. Like, you think you're on a flat surface and then you get 5 feet up and all of a sudden it's going for a walk down a driveway and you're like, oh, hold on. I think we'll get, we've got I think it's 14 feet, 3.6 meters on tripod ladder. And I think we'll end up getting a few, maybe one 6-footer, and then I think there's a 16-footer you can get. I think that's the big one we want. The only issue with them is storage. They're just so big and hard to store. If you don't have a big depot or down the side of a shed or something, they take up a lot of space. And even when I've forgot a couple of times reversing into the garage, and it clips the roof pretty quick.
Yeah, I bought a foot with the tripod, and I found it's done everything I've needed to do. There's been once or twice where I've wanted to be really handy to have a 12-foot, but I've not needed to go up to the size you're talking there. So that's the 8-foot is manageable for loading and unloading off the vehicle or the trailer, and in most situations, it's not a problem to handle it. It's just a little bit on the short side occasionally.
I just can't fault them. Like, even when it comes to, like, at the moment, we'll do a lot of crepe myrtle pruning and stuff like that, and even fruit tree pruning. And you could be with I think they were originally called fruit picket ladders or something like that, arborist ladders or something. It's orchard ladder, that's what it is. Yeah,
orchard
you're
ladder.
in the middle of the tree. It's so much better. It's so much more accessible. Like, if anyone's been thinking about getting one, just get it. Like, it's so much better than a Bunnings ladder.
I've often found myself too close to the tree with the tripod. I've had to go, all right, let's move it back a foot so that I can actually do the hedging.
You need to know how far back that hedge is, how thick that is, where you're comfortable standing, holding a hedge trimmer. Like, you need, whether you like to prune from the left or prune to the right, or you're pruning face on. That's stuff that comes with experience as well. Like, you learn that I was about to say real quick, but you don't. Yeah. You learn that by doing it wrong over and over again. And you get up and you go, shit, I'm a foot too close. I'm a foot too back. And then, you figure it out.
Yep. Yeah, you do learn it quick in the sense that it's like riding a bike. If once you put it in the wrong place, you immediately have to think about, okay, how much do I move it to get it in the right place? And it might take you a couple of goes to start with, but once you have done that, you then get to that point where next time you get the tripod ladder out, you start thinking about that as you're setting up.
Yeah.
Okay, is that where I want it? Do I need to move it Definitely. To the side? Move it
I find as well with the tripod ladder, the actual feet, I don't know what you call it, feet plates or the footholds, they're much wider and grippier. They've got like I don't know what yours is like. Ours is not a tread on it, but it's built into the aluminium. It grips your foot, so I feel comfortable standing hedging to my side, opposed to always trying to be over the front of a ladder.
Yes.
And with the rotation of your body, you can get
mine
more
has
of a hedge each time you're up, opposed to having to take smaller steps across the driveway or the back patio or wherever you are, you can get more done in less time.
Yeah. Mine's like yours in the sense that it has sort of pointy bits on the feet, and then it has the rubber foot you can put on that as well for smooth surfaces. So it works really well. Mine doesn't have an adjustable side leg. It's got an adjustable rear leg, so you can change the height of the rear leg, but I can't change the height of the sides at all.
So it's only one leg you can change, the one that sticks out. You call it the rear. I would have called it the front, I guess.
The rear.
And that's ours. It goes up. I think it's 4 or 5 pins you can go up and down, just depending on So if you need to go up a set of stairs, you drop it down so that it's the back legs are lower than the front, things like that, or even vice versa.
There are some tripods where you can change the side leg to work on a slope.
We've got one job we look after. It's right next to a pool, and the hedge has to be. It's a hard job to do. Put it this way: it's a thin pool edging with a thin water housier hedge, and it's got to be 4.5 meters high. And they always want the tops done every time. So you just get the side of the ladder into the hedge, and then you face away from the hedge and get up, and you have to, because the pool, the paving is much higher than the garden bed, probably shouldn't be saying this, but you have to use chocks to make it level. So that's where that side drop would be handy. But then you get up and you almost have to turn back on yourself to cut the hedge, because your ladder's facing towards the pool and the hedge is behind you. So it's one
I know
of those
exactly.
It was much better once the pool got filled. When we were just doing it above an empty hole, it was a lot scarier. But going in for a swim doesn't seem as bad.
Yeah, landing in water is a little bit more.
Thankfully, we've never had it. Touch wood, we've never had any major issues, and I don't plan on it anytime soon. So that's my brother that worked for me used to be in health and safety, so we don't take it lightly. I guess it's a good. We've all got kids and stuff now and wives, so it's good to go home every day.
Efficiency is the thing that rules a business and the decisions you make as a small business owner. Right Mowers give you the options in their product lineup to match efficiency with size, fuel usage, and the type of jobs you want to target, from catching to mulching or side discharge, from roadside verges to acreages and manicured lawns to 6 feet tall and super long. I've been using the Right Stander I 42-inch with a Catch Pro for manicured areas and the Stander ZK61 to maximise productivity for large open acreage mowing. If you need to replace your push mower, try the 32-inch Stander B. If you have more open access to residential properties, there's a 42 through to 48-inch option that suits you. And if you want to enter the acreage market, the 52, 61 and 72-inch machines have choices in engine size and model type to suit the work you want it to do. Right Standards go the distance, saving you time and money season after season.
Yeah, that's it. It's very important. Okay, so is there any other equipment that we should touch on?
Not really. I guess for us, probably it seems quite minimal compared to these guys that are rocking 42-inch mowers and 52-inch and 72-inch, whatever. But for us, probably the most important tool is just a pair of secateurs. Like, we always start everyone on a pair of Falco 2s, and then if you want to go up, like I got a pair sitting in front of me here, the custom-made Japanese ones. But the blades, they're beautiful and so nice to use, but they got walnut handles. It's been handmade, but they don't prune through big stuff. That's like rose pruning and flower pruning. They're more decorative than anything else. But I usually wear
the Japanese ones are really good for the delicate stuff.
I rock a pair of Nawakis. They're my go-to, and they're a lot smaller than the Falco 2s. Since I've gone to them, I can't go back now. They're just super comfortable. I've got a little side saddle for them, little leather pouch, and I don't notice them on my hip all day long. So, but that's probably our most important tools: a good, clean, sharp pair of Sekis, and then we've got nice shears and things like that, and then just all steel, petrol powered stuff, and pretty basic tools, really, but it does what we need. It's just, can't blame the tool. It's the person using it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a set of Felcos that are the left-handed ones. I was just trying to check
Yeah,
which
it's
model they are.
nines
I
or
think they're the
fours,
nines.
maybe. Maybe the fours are the ergonomic ones. Yeah, yeah, okay.
I think the nines
Yeah.
are the lefties.
That would be frustrating
Yeah.
as a lefty. I'm a right-hander, but it would be weird coming into tools that are not made for you every single time.
It's funny because a lot of things you just don't have a left-handed option. So my Japanese sekis are not lefties, and they still use them like normal, but little things make a difference, right? So the Japanese sekis, because I'm left-handed, occasionally they'll pinch my skin really badly.
Is that when you're putting it in
but
your
the
hand,
Felcos,
or like where's it pinching?
So if you pick up your Japanese, I don't have mine in front of me, unfortunately, but if you pick them up and put them up to the screen, you'll see just in where the spring is, there's a little gap there, and I occasionally will get a bit of my skin just caught in that little gap,
I've
just
done
right
that
in
with
the
my
middle
thumb
there.
before, because I think it was from my using Falco 2s the whole time. They're a lot heavier, so I learned by putting my thumb up there was always where I placed, whereas now it's my index finger at the back. But yeah, I'd pinch my thumb in there a few times, and I've taken a few chunks out of fingers by not concentrating. And whenever you get that pinch, you think of the worst thing first, and then you realize it's just a little blood blister you have to do.
Sounds like
I think that's
not a
probably
lefty
just
issue
holding
then.
them wrong or something. Just riding high on them. Like, I know with the shears.
Yeah. Which I blamed on being lefty.
The
I'm holding them
shears
wrong because
we
I'm a
use as
lefty.
well.
But no.
You get used to, like, I know you've had Craig from Southern Cross Gardens on, haven't you? Okay. Well, he's pretty good at Bucks.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. He's real good at
had him.
Bucks' shaping. And I speak to him a lot about, like, just handling the shears. It's depending on what you're doing, you might be riding up really high. It's almost like how cricketers will hold a cricket bat, like a different shot. You'll be choking up, but then if you're doing something a bit looser, you'll be back hard at the end of the shear handles. And the more you start to use them, the more you get used to, like, all right, I need the little shorties today, or I need something with a longer blade or a finer blade. And I guess it's all, you get used to what you want. It's the same as everything, though. You start to appreciate your own tools, and you know the little intricacies to them. But then you pick up someone else's and you're like, geez, this feels weird. I've been doing this for 15 years and I feel so out of place using this tool. But in the end, they all do the same job, really.
Yeah, that's it. So I do find when I pick up the Felco number 9s, I'm like, they just everything's in the right place.
I don't envy you for that. That's for sure. It would be weird.
Well, I think the biggest challenge for a lefty is
I actually listened to, or maybe it was your most recent one, the guy that had, maybe not. It was a guy that worked for a council, but he had a bunch of apprentices that he taught, and he had a few lefties, and he was trying to teach them how to hold the whippersnipper. And he said it was confusing where to put. They want to put their hand on the throttle, their left hand on the throttle, but it doesn't work. And I was like, yeah, that would be infuriating, especially because we use the bullhorns. It just wouldn't work. Like it'd be the long handle out the front. Yeah, it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Well, I don't use bullhorns. I always use the loop handle on mine. But certainly in terms of where the grass is getting thrown and which way you hold it when you're doing a vertical edge, those sorts of things, it's completely back to front compared to a right-handed person. So one of the things I loved about switching to a battery whip was not burning my arm anymore, because the exhaust on most whips is designed so that when you hold it in a different position, it's still away from your arm. Whereas for a lefty, when I hold it so that I'm doing a vertical edge, the exhaust gets really close to my arm. I've burnt my arm so many times.
That would be infuriating. Do you use all battery powered stuff now?
Oh yeah,
everything battery apart from the backpack blower.
So yeah, I got the
Yeah.
backpack blower and the lawnmowers that are petrol. I've still got a
Yeah, okay.
FS131, but I
Yeah.
haven't
Is
used it in
that's the
probably 12
really
months
big
now.
one, is it? With like the heads more, it's like the body's in the shaft. Is that one? It's like
No. I think that's the 250. So the FS131 is
okay.
a 4-mix that's probably about a 30
Yeah,
cc,
okay.
30
Yeah,
to 35 cc.
Now
Somewhere in there.
we've got a few. We've sort of varied with
Yeah.
the brush cull, whippersnippers, whatever you want to call them, in the size.
Yep.
Because we use the bullhorns, they don't make, like nowadays you can't even just convert it because of the way that it's locked onto the straight shaft. But it's bigger isn't always better. Like especially for residential, it's not necessary. Like the huge, the 91's as big as I'd want to go.
Well, a lot of people I talk to are like, I just want the 250 because then I've got the power and it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I can do residential lawns or I can do overgrown jobs. I can do jungles, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but it's a heavy beast. And in the petrol units, my go-to would be the 94, the FS94 or the Husky 525 LST. And loved those units, but the battery units, weight saving, less vibrations, and so depending on which battery unit I'm using as to what advantages I get.
That's my only
Love it.
I don't know, not issue with the bullhorns is loading it on the ute. It's just it's frustrating. So you have to make sure that it's facing the right way, or that you've got, if we put bags of green waste on, you want to make sure the bullhorns are out, because otherwise when it gets caught, you can't get it out, and they catch real quick. Whereas the loop handle is much more convenient for loading on and off the ute.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, Andy, it's been good talking to you. We've chewed up a lot of your
quite
time
long,
today.
but that's all right. It's all good. Hopefully someone gets something out of it.
Can we wrap up with a couple of minutes? Just talking about what you want to do in the future. So next year to 5 years, you're thinking of changing your business in any way, growing it, or doing
I guess
things differently?
For me, it's sort of 5-year plan would be to get to maybe that 8 people. So 8 plus me. So I'd be off the tools at least 1 to 2 days a week just for admin. And then, because there's so many after hours, unbillable hours that you're putting in that you just need to recoup that somewhere. But ideally have 4 utes out, 2 guys or girls, whatever, 2 team members in each car. And then by then, I'd probably want a small depot, because we still, at the moment, we just load up the utes, and then the guys will take their utes home so that everyone knows what they've got. And then I use software to give notes for jobs and things like that if I'm not going to see them. Some weeks I might not see the guys. They're pretty independent if we've got different jobs. But I'd like to have probably, up to about 8 people, just a happy team that's happy to come to work, and we're doing good quality work. Quality control is the big issue for me, and I just want to build on what we've already done and keep going, I guess. Just be, for me, what I want to be is the choice, the gardener or horticulturalist of choice for the landscape architects and landscapers that recommend us. I think that's the best recommendation you can get. Friends and family are good, but if someone's given someone $10,000 to $50,000 for a design, and then $50,000 to $500,000 for a build, well, they're clearly invested in their garden, so they can then, if you get recommended, then you're working in a good garden that's been designed and thought out well, and that you're going to be happy working in, and you're going to get to make it evolve to its best product. And then everyone, the designer, the landscaper, us, we all get to post it on Instagram and show the evolution of the garden and what we can all do I see that the industry as a whole rather than individuals. It's like making these gardens the best they can be. I know it's quite woo woo and overall wholesome, but that's what I would like to be the the company of choice from other businesses for recommendations, and then have a business that I'm proud of and happy for the team's proud to work at. That would be the overall goal, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. Well,
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, and it is that time of day where
I can hear my little one crying out there, so I really should get out there.
Well,
Not a
thanks
problem.
for your
Thanks, mate.
time. I
Thank
hope
you.
you have a good evening.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.